Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Knights of the Dawn podcast, where we talk about everything Brandon Mole. My name is Megan.
And I'm Jessica.
And we just have to say...
We are sorry. Okay.
It has been a little while since we've uploaded, and we have a couple... Yes. It's been a wild ride for us for the past month, and so we just want to say sorry, and thank you to those who have sent us messages asking, when we're going to put out the next episode.
Yes.
We appreciate your feedback, and thank you. You're motivating us to keep going.
Yes, honestly. It has been a crazy month. I don't know if I can't speak for Megan, but I know this has been one of my harder, it's just school kills you.
Yeah, we're both college students,
yeah.
So we just finished our semester, so hopefully
this summer we'll
try to be on a more
consistent
upload schedule, so feel free to keep us honest on that.
And to be fair, we did try to record one a couple weeks ago.
Yes. We had a mishap.
Yeah. Technical.
We recorded and then it didn't record correctly, and so we couldn't upload it.
Yeah, but I think we got it all figured out. We did 3 trial runs right before this to make sure.
We were making sure that this is actually recording correctly. So
because we were really betting on that one.
If it doesn't, I'm gonna lose my mind. But
there will be tears.
Yes,
and they will be from me.
I will have a breakdown.
Yeah.
We actually are gonna finish our book commentary on Fablehaven Book 1. Yeah. So we're covering. Let's see. Last time we finished with chapter 12, Inside the Barn, I believe.
Yeah, Meeting Gloria.
And now we're doing chapters 13 through 19, which is the end of the book. An Unexpected Message is the first chapter that we're starting off with today.
All right. So, quick summary. Grandma's the chicken.
Just put it out there. Grandma equals chicken.
Grandma is
Why did the chicken cross the road?
Because Seth was trying to do something stupid on the other side.
To go scold Seth on the other side.
Why am I so proud of that joke?
That was a good answer.
And probably, relatable. So Grandma, in a few moments of sentience, manages to write out a message in spilled corn saying, "I am G-Ma."
Yes.
And so Seth and Kendra are like, hey, we've seen crazier stuff in the past week.
If I saw that, I think my mind would explode. But they've already had a lot of crazy things happen, so...
Yeah, they're probably at this point, anything goes, might as well.
It's true. Honestly, they're like, oh, help, thank you. Yes. Divine help has come from God, that their grandma is actually a chicken, and now they're trying to figure out how to bring her back. So, they're like, the only thing we can think of is taking her to Muriel, the witch.
Which, they got no other choice. They need her.
Exactly.
And sadly, Grandma didn't, because Grandma has been a chicken, she didn't know that one of the 2 remaining knots keeping Muriel imprisoned had been loosed to help Seth. But she did not know that there was only one left, and so when they went to the witch and said, hey, we need our grandma back, she's like, okay, blow my knot, free me. And they've got, we got no choice. And so Grandma's like, when she gets turned back to human, she's like, crap. I didn't,
This is another problem on my hands.
Yeah.
A big one.
But yeah. Then Grandma, though, she is no nonsense. She takes charge.
She is a strong, independent woman.
Oh, yeah, you know it. Even in a bathrobe.
She's like, we're going to Nero, and we're going to find your grandpa.
Yeah.
And I'm going to fix this mess that he created.
I love how she's, so used to it. She's like, I knew that without me, this place would go to crap. I just knew it.
Well, after 40 years of marriage, I'm going to guess? 50? I don't know how long they have been married, but she's probably used to cleaning up Grandpa's messes.
Honestly, I think Grandpa is more of a Seth than he realizes. I can imagine him being a very Sethy...
Honestly, he's Seth, but with 50 years more experience.
Yeah. And all of those, all of the learning experiences.
That's true.
Grandpa laughs.
He does kind of have a Seth personality underneath. That's true.
And then Grandma's the tempered, more of a Kendra, but more
but
less hesitant,
more bold.
Yes, a very bold Kendra.
Yeah, she's got the Patton Burgess in her. Yeah, she's got the Patton Burgess in her.
No, but yeah, she definitely has a lot of Kendra in her.
Yeah,
but it's really fun. So yeah, basically, Grandma comes back and okay, so we reference really quickly Nero. Nero is a cave troll with a magic stone that can see pretty much anything. And so Grandma's like, okay, I may be dressed in a bathrobe and slippers, but we're going to see him and we're going to get the information of where your grandpa is. And Seth and Kendra are like, let's go. we're not in charge anymore. You got this.
I don't have to be responsible for this. Let's follow Grandma.
Yeah. Seth gets a good moment right here. Because once they get there, they find out they have to climb these, like, vertical logs that are, like, getting slowly increasingly taller to get to, like, I think it's 40-foot ledge.
Yeah.
Like,
it's tall. Like, honestly, rereading this, I was like, that's how tall it is?
Yeah, like, and there's, like, an 18-foot, like, diameter. 18-inch diameter for Seth, like, and Seth was, like, leapfrogging up. I thought that's what it said.
I don't know. Here,
and then,
take a look.
And then, like, it was, like, an 18-inch diameter log.
Is that big or is that small?
It's small. I don't
know.
Like, that's 1.5 feet. That's, like, that big. And he's leapfrogging.
Okay, even for an 11-year-old, that is, like, small ledge. That would barely fit his feet. Like,
yeah, he's not using his feet, though. What he ends up doing is he, like, leapfrogs. Like, he puts his hand up and he, like, just, like, scoots his butt onto it. Because I think it's, like, a 3-foot difference between them. And there's, like...
This is hard to picture in my brain.
I know. I think there's, like, 20 logs. They're all vertical, increasing, like, a staircase.
You know, for some reason, I pictured them not standing up straight. I know it says they're standing up straight, but it's like in my brain, I was just like, oh, yeah, they're like stairs on the side of a cliff. But they're not, apparently. This sounds way harder than what I always pictured.
So basically, they get there, and Nero's like, climb the ladder, or climb the stairs, and we'll negotiate. And Grandma's like, okay, but Seth beats her to it, and he just says, nope, it's actually kind of a sad...
It's really sad what he says.
He says, I've already lost one grandma, I'm not losing another. And he just bolts over there and starts climbing.
That's so sad.
I know, it's like... And also, because he feels also responsible at this point for Grandpa. So he's like, I might have killed my other grandfather after losing one.
Yeah, at this point, he's already lost 2 grandparents, and his grandpa might be dead, and he's like, I'm not losing you too, like... That's sad.
Not when it was partially my fault. And so he starts leapfrogging up this, and I love Grandma, like, leaning over to Kendra, like, can he do this?
Is he capable of this?
Like, is this something he could do? And Kendra's like, I think he does stuff like this.
He's
like
pretty ballsy.
That's a good way of putting it. Like, she's like, he's got a shot. He ends up falling and probably getting a couple ribs bruised, honestly. Because Nero catches him, and he swings into the cliff face. Like,
swings into solid stone.
Yeah, but, like, Nero's, like, impressed. Like, he actually wants to, like, hire Seth out for, like,
he's like,
years.
you can be my slave.
Yeah, so I'll show you where your grandpa is. Fair trade, right? Yeah, because, like, Nero, he wants a price. Like, and he's, like, naming these big...
greedy.
Yes.
He's a cave troll.
He's a cave troll. He's a troll.
They have a cave troll.
And so he starts...
Did you get that reference?
No, I don't think I did. What is it?
Return of the King. Not Return of the King. Fellowship of the Ring.
So, yeah, basically... And Nero is like, I want 30 barrels of gold coins. I want 5 rooms full of rubies. And Grandma's like, reasonable.
She's got a poker face.
Oh, this woman bluffs her way through.
She's like, interesting.
How about a massage?
She's like, that is fleeting material goods. Mm-hmm. What if I were to offer you an experience?
Yes.
Like, she's a saleswoman.
This woman, like, she says, like, I was trained by a master.
Yeah.
She gives him a sample on just one palm. And afterwards, she's, like, over here panting, like, whew, that was 90 minutes. And they're like, you should have just paid him. And she's like, yeah, we did not have that much gold.
She's like, yeah, I don't know what you think we have, but we do not have that.
Yeah, and so, like, so they get the information. And we find out that Grandpa is being held with Muriel in what is called in the book the Forgotten Chapel. So some context that we get for the Forgotten Chapel right here is that basically there was this demon called Bahamut who is quite the character we learn. He's got like he's a weird looking dude, but he's a demon.
Not even a dude.
He's a demon.
Yes.
And basically he terrorized the people who lived in on the preserve.
Like the 1600s,
I think.
somewhere around there. 1700s, because Fablehaven was established
1769 or something.
I think it's 1703 or something like that.
That does sound right.
It's early 1700s.
Yeah.
Trivia question.
Trivia question. When was Fablehaven founded?
When was Fablehaven established?
Okay, but yeah, so a very powerful few wizards, I believe, imprisoned Bahamut.
Yes.
In the basement of the Forgotten Chapel. There's some other history there, which is really interesting, but that's what we're going to diet down to right now.
Yep.
And so, basically, the fact that Grandma now knows that Nero saw Grandpa, Lena, Muriel, the witch, in Bahamut's prison means bad. Because, like, the problem first was just the fact that Grandpa's been kidnapped and they need to get him back.
Yeah.
But now, the fact that they're trying to free Bahamut means they are actively trying to destroy all of Fablehaven.
Like, this is a code red they've got on their hands.
Like, it was a code...
This situation has gone from bad to very much worse.
It was like on the edge of orange turning to red with Grandpa gone, maybe pinkish.
Yeah.
Now it's just straight up red.
It is red with flashing lights. Black. The sirens are going off. Like,
DEFCON 1. This is DEFCON 1.
Because, as what Grandma tells them as they get back to the house and are gathering supplies, she tells them the secret about Fablehaven, that Fablehaven is one of 5 secret preserves that are scattered across the globe, and each of these secret preserves has an artifact, and these artifacts are very, very powerful relics that the Society of the Evening Star, which we've heard a little bit about,
referenced, yeah.
They're trying to recover these and use them for their own evil purposes.
And I love how Seth's like, great, let's use it.
Yeah, he's like, let's go find the artifact. And Grandma's like, you don't understand what you don't understand.
Like that's a no, honey. Like, Grandma's like, no. And, like, she's like, that is beyond our power.
Yeah.
That's for the next book.
That's
for the rest of the
That's
series.
for next summer.
So Grandma's like, no, but, like, that is the reason. Like, we got to keep this place alive.
Yeah.
Because, like, there are dozens of preserves, but that in this, we learned that Fablehaven is even more special. Like, there's something more to this place.
And if it were to be overthrown by a demon, that would, complicate things even more and give even more opportunity for the society to come in.
And get that artifact that they are dying for.
Yes.
So, yeah. So now it's like, Grandma's like, okay, the crossbow's coming out. Like, she is, like, prepping. She is ready to kill. Like, they're heading toward, like, they call Hugo, and they start heading toward the Forgotten Chapel. And, like, she's got, like, a dart that will mortally wound
Muriel.
It's magic.
Yeah.
And, like, she is willing to do what she has to do. Like, she said she was willing to forfeit her protections.
Yeah, she's willing to take the consequences
and leave.
Of that.
Like, she said she would probably have to leave Fablehaven.
Because killing someone else on the preserve
would,
with no reason would, like, forfeit her all of her protections.
Like, self-defense.
Yeah.
Like, if she, like, shoots that.
Like, not on, like, neutral ground. I think if it's on, like, neutral ground.
Yes, I believe
it's
so.
Fine.
Like, if Muriel were invading, but yeah, so, like, the protections would not cover her.
Yeah.
And, like, so Grandma's like, no, though, I have to do what I must. And she's like, she is ready to send Seth and Kendra out, but no, they are both like, no, we are seeing this through. It is our fault.
Yeah.
We are going to help this out. Like, I really like Seth's determination to help out right here. He's like, no, we are doing this. Like,
He's like, I'm not going to let you go alone. And he also has kind of a funny thing that he says. He says, whatever you say, I'll follow you anyways. Like, that's such a Seth thing. He's like, you think I'm going to listen now? Like,
honestly, I love that. And then I love the fact that Grandma kind of cedes. Like, she's like, okay, fine. And also Kendra, it comes in as the voice of reason, being like, if we're supposed to possibly inherit this place someday, you won't always be able to protect us. We need to have this good experience to watch you and Hugo handle. And Seth's like, field trip. And Grandma just looks at them like, you're growing up so fast.
Kendra's like, we need this field experience to understand what it's like to future live in this preserve.
Whereas Seth's just like, I just want to see the violence.
Yeah. He's like, let's go fight monsters.
I want to see Hugo pound Muriel.
Yeah. But also the seriousness of, like, he's like, I caused this mess. I need to help clean it up.
Yeah, and so Grandma even gets them, like, some more tools. They get them more of that, like, sparking salt that helped them out on the last...
Old reliable salt.
Yeah. And so, but they head out, and they get there, and they find out that Muriel is not only trying to free Bahamut, she is also creating her imp army. Like Muriel, Bahamut is imprisoned by all those knots. There's a lot more of them. Like, I think there was like hundreds.
There's a ton of knots between Muriel and him, and so she's like using the knots to fulfill like wishes. She's making the imps bigger.
Like
she's
human-sized.
Yeah, she uses them to like change Grandpa and Lena into like
weird
animals and stuff. She's just using the magic to then slowly make her way to Bahamut.
Mm-hmm. Which is really smart.
Yeah. It's also
makes yourself look young.
I mean, if you weren't going to, like, get Bahamut out, but you still needed some magic, like, could you just go use a couple of the knots?
20 knots.
Like, it sounds like it's a whole room full of knots. Like, I feel like you could go use one or two of those in a pinch.
Mm-hmm.
Just a thought.
Yeah, okay. And of course, that's always like, just one knot won't hurt.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yes. You're saying that doing one bad thing is going to, like, drag me down.
Well, I'm just saying, if you get that attitude, like, one knot, I just need
just
a
one
new car.
more.
In all seriousness, like, she's now got a human-sized imp army, which, to remind you all, there's the fallen fairies, of which the one that Seth accidentally did. And so, basically, this huge army is standing now between her and Grandma, Kendra, and Seth. Mm-hmm. But they still have the protections. So they are, for the most part, able, like, and, like, Hugo's able to defend. Like, they managed to get through for the most part, and they do get the shot. Seth uses his salt, so he, therefore, performs magic by the protections, and then Grandma shoots her shot, but does not kill Muriel, only wounds her.
Yeah.
So she still has some protection. They can't kill her.
Yeah. And so Seth and Grandma are captured, but Kendra cannot be touched because she has not worked any magic since coming to Fablehaven.
Mm-hmm. She has followed the rules, drew within the lines.
Yep.
And so Grandpa tells her, get out, run.
Yeah, he's like, take my truck, ram it through the gate, and get out.
Like, he's like, somebody's got to live, somebody's got to tell, like, the rest of, like, the magical community what has happened here.
Yeah.
Like, somebody's got to survive. And so Kendra, in tears, just has to sprint.
Yeah, she has to run away.
Like, she has to abandon her family, run away, and is now faced with, like, night is falling.
Yeah.
It was, like, sunset when they got to the chapel.
Yeah, it's getting dark, and she's alone.
And, yeah, she's on this track that she's only been on once. And just, like, what am I supposed to do here? And, like, I can just imagine, like, I imagine it wouldn't even process for, like, hours at this point. Like, just, like, the shock.
In a future adaptation of this book, I feel like they could really, like, push down on, like, the emotions of this moment where she just has to, like, I imagine her, like, running down this, like, dirt track. It's getting dark, and she's kind of, like, stops and is, like...
Ooh, I imagine a trip right there.
Or she trips and falls,
and just starts
like, here's the echoes of, like, voices sobbing. Of, like, her grandpa being, like, run, get out of here or something, you know? Something like that, just to feel, like, the emotion of this moment of, like, she is completely alone in this world that she doesn't know how it works, and she doesn't know what to do.
She's hopeless.
Yeah.
Like, she expects now at this point her family is going to die, and Fablehaven will be lost. And there's nothing she can do about it. Mm-hmm.
And so she almost gets back to the house eventually. Mm-hmm. And then she has an idea. And that idea is to go and plead for the help of the Fairy Queen, who we know has a shrine in the island in the middle of the pond.
Mm-hmm. And I really do like the name of this chapter. It's called A Desperate Gamble.
Desperate Gamble.
Like, because that's really what it is.
It is, yeah. Like, it's a good name.
She knows the only person that she knows of that has stepped on that island turned into literal dandelion fluff. He was deemed unworthy. His request was not sufficient. That is her only context for what this fairy queen does.
Yeah.
Also, the other fairies to her are not very nice. Mm-hmm. They turned her brother into a blubbering walrus.
It's true.
They are vain.
She does not have a lot to go off of.
Like, she has no reason to think this, but like the first part of the chapter says, she is desperate.
Yeah.
There is no other creature or person on this preserve that can help her at this point. Mm-hmm. Hugo got turned into a lump of rock and stick. Yep. Dale is a statue. Her family is captured.
That is everyone that she knows on this preserve.
And she's like, the only thing I have left is the Fairy Queen. That's the only hope.
Only possibility.
And so she ends up going to the pond with the island. She manages to get into the boathouse that was built by Patton Burgess, who's lured is a bad word, who drew Lena from the pond with his love. So she gets into the boathouse that was built by Patton Burgess, Lena's husband from all those years ago.
Yes.
And she, with no little effort, because of the attacking naiads, manages to get to the center of the island. Or, like, she's got her boat up on the edge.
A paddle boat, by the way.
A paddle boat, yeah.
That's slowly... I don't know if you've ever been on one of those, but those are hard to move. Like,
Are they?
You have to paddle a ton to make any headway.
Oh, gosh. And imagine having, like, 15 to 20 water creatures underneath you, pushing you around, trying to flip you out of the boat, capsize you.
Exactly.
To kill you.
Yeah.
But so she manages, and mostly because I think the naiads are just trying to mess with her. Like, they just let her go. Like, they're like, oh, let's just see. And so they let her get to the center of the island. Or the center of the lake to the island. And I love, like, the moment, like, right before she jumps out. Like, she barely has any time because she's, like, thinking at any second the naiads could push her away. So she just has to jump out of the boat onto the island. And, like, she's just got, like, this second where she just, like, breathes. And then she's like,
I didn't turn into dandelion fluff. Like, that was obstacle number 3.
I was thinking more 50, but okay.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, and so she manages to talk to the Fairy Queen. And I really like the conversation that they have.
Mm-hmm. Like, it's really short, but it's not even a conversation. It's more like feelings and like emotions. Yeah,
this is her final breakdown.
This is where she like breaks down. But like, I mean, when the Fairy Queen like talks to her, it's more through like impressions and like things that she like sees in her mind and stuff, which is really interesting.
Yeah, especially because, okay, slight spoiler here.
This is spoiler through book 5 of Fablehaven.
And a little bit through the
And a little bit of Dragon Watch. So, if you haven't read through book 5 of Fablehaven, skip. Hey everyone, this is Megan editing this episode. If you want to skip spoilers, go to minute 24 and you should be good. Also, sorry for this terrible mic quality.
I think this is important for those who have read Fablehaven.
Okay, spoiler warning.
Yes.
Spoiler in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We do know that the Fairy Queen knows what it's like to lose family. At this point, Bracken has been imprisoned for who knows how long, and she doesn't know what happened to him. And her husband, the Fairy King, has been imprisoned for even longer. Like, she knows what it's like to lose family, but on an immortal scale.
Man, I haven't thought about that.
So, so I just love how, like, she actually, like, you don't realize this until the 5th book, but she does feel this pain.
Yeah, it's true. I've never thought of that before. It's a good point, too. Like, she knows what it's like to lose, like, her family. And I mean, she's still, like, in the later books, she's still mourning the loss of her husband. That's why she, like, banished the Astrids and everything.
Yeah. Like, Kendra has this, like, cleansing tears where she's, like, she needed the release to stop, like...
Is this the end of the spoiler?
Yeah. No. Well, I guess. Yeah, I think we can say we're done now.
Okay. End of spoiler. Yeah. You can come back now.
Yeah, it's like the tears she had shed were of shock, and then the tears she sheds on the island were of realization. And, like, she's just, like, begging, like, please help me. That's a good... Like, that was not me. That was Brandon. That was great.
I feel like if you've ever, like, had, like, moments where you're just, like, really sad, like, if you ever, like, lost a family member or, like, something like that, or, like, some time where you're really just sad or, like, you just have this complete breakdown, I feel like that really, like, speaks to, like, what that feels like.
Yeah, we got deep right there. So... this little tiny statue of a fairy that is the shrine starts crying as well. And, like, literally, the Fairy Queen says 2 lines. I accept your offering and join you in weeping. From tears, milk, and blood, devise an elixir, and my handmaidens will attend you. So a little riddle on that last bit. But I really like that, like, the Fairy Queen does join her in weeping. Like, it's just, like, yeah, she has for
empathy.
Empathy, exactly.
Which is interesting when all she knows about her is that she's a fairy queen who's, like, powerful and basically, like, a deity, kind of. And, you know, just to get that little bit of communication. It's kind of interesting.
And then, like, the presence that Kendra feels just leaves.
Yeah.
And Kendra's like, wait, what?
She's like, that's all you give me?
Like, I just poured my heart out to you.
Like, you could have just, like, waved your hand and, like...
Flapped your wings.
You know, put a little fairy dust. But, I mean, she does give her the recipe for success. You like that one.
I did like that one. I don't know why.
I came up with that on the spot.
Oh,
You're welcome.
Oh, gosh, that was great. So the tears from this little statue go into this bowl. And so, tears, milk, and blood. So she's like, okay, let's go get the milk from Viola. And then she's like, blood?
Both is good. Cover all our bases.
Cover all the bases. And so, so she manages to complete the task, while also causing a little mischief with Mendigo, Muriel's puppet that is sent to kidnap
the creepy giant puppet.
Yeah. Kendra goes, well, if I do this elixir thing, will I be doing magic? Will that then make it so the puppet can kidnap me?
Yeah.
So she's like, okay, let's mess with him a little bit. She takes his arms off the hooks, which is like it's a life-size puppet. But I think we might have mentioned it, like the first one. I don't know. And like our first.
Well, he wasn't life-size, and then she made him life-size.
Yeah, she's not life. He is now.
He's like kind of like Hugo. Mm-hmm. He takes orders.
A puppet.
But a puppet.
A Hugo puppet.
I have never tried to imagine what Mendigo looks like, but you know how Pinocchio looks like in Shrek? That's what I picture. Like a life-size. I'm just over here, but not like Pinocchio in like the Disney movie, but like Shrek Pinocchio.
I don't know if I do Shrek Pinocchio.
I don't know why, but that's what it looks like to me.
Just like long, like wood, like just like sticks, and like
it's
a
like
face.
just like a stick man.
Yeah.
How do you guys picture Mendigo? Sorry, I say Mendigo.
Mendigo. I think I say
Mendigo. Over the hill we go. Mendigo.
Mendigo.
That's what I always say it. Mendigo.
Is that how the audiobook says it? Am I right for once?
Mendigo.
Yeah, that's what I said. Mendigo.
Oh, you were saying Mendigo a second ago.
It depends if I'm trying to talk fast or something. Whatever. Okay. Anyways,
moving on.
With the puppet, throws its arms in the lake, and goes, ha ha!
Neener, neener, neener.
Which causes Mendigo trying to get his arms back to get yanked underneath, and Kendra's like, boom! Yeah!
That is a problem that has been dealt with.
Like, seriously, like, she's like, you can't touch me, na na na.
Well, then he does, and then she gets him, like, pulled into the pond by the naiads.
Yeah. Like, honestly, point for Kendra.
She's like, all right, yeah, I know, that was kind of smart.
Yeah, but then so she runs over to the house, she gets the blood, she gets the milk.
The milk. And
then she's like, fairies, the handmaidens, right? That's gotta be it. Fairies.
Come drink this, like, weird, gross,
substance.
like, pink-looking liquid that I have.
She's like, it's from your queen, right? You like that, right?
Yeah, and they're like, I think they start, like, gathering, but none of them, like, they go up and, like, peek in the bowl.
And then they fly off and gather some more.
Yeah, but, like, none of them are, like, drinking it. And she's like, oh, crap, how do I make them do this?
And then this dark presence is, like, felt over the entire preserve. And Kendra.
Oh, yeah.
And it's, like, right here. Because Kendra now knows, like, crap. We're out. Like, I think this is, like, right before sunrise. Behemoth has been freed.
Well, I picture, like, wind, like, going through, like, the chill. Like, I feel like there's, like, somewhere in, like, some movie or something where they open, like, this dark evil cavern or something and, like, wind comes out. I don't know.
I'm, like, imagining, like, a shockwave that comes from, like, a big sound. Like, it's just, like, so, like, as it's, like, freed, it just, like, the present just, like, expands in, like, a shockwave. And so all the fairies scatter, and Kendra's like, no! Like, because she knows now, like...
Behemoth's out.
We gotta go now.
Yeah, it's happening now.
And so she's like, she does the one thing she can think of. She gives the example. So she puts her finger in the milk-ish.
Milk blood elixir.
Milk blood tears thing. Tears. And she puts it in her mouth, and she's like, it's the one thing she can think of.
Yeah. She's like, I'll have to try it for myself.
Like, she's like, ooh, good. Like,
come and have some.
And so a fairy copies her, and boom, warrior goddess,
Amazon warrior
with wings.
Yes.
Kendra basically this is what elixir does. She realizes turns the tiny fairies into the fairy version of the imp soldiers that Muriel has.
Like, ready for war.
Yeah. And
Fairies.
so, like, these fairies are like, well...
Let's do it.
Let's do this.
Let's do this thing.
And so I really like that they immediately turn to Kendra and they're like, what are your orders? Like, all of them go, like, swarm the bowl. They all turn into their giant goddess Amazon warrior selves. And they're like, all right, our queen has commanded that we follow your orders. What do you want?
She's gone from, like, tiny, insignificant human to, like, general on the field of battle.
And Kendra's just like,
she's like,
help Dale?
Can you bring Dale back?
And they're like, no problem.
We got this.
Imagine being Dale. So
Dale, he, like, wakes up.
So just to remind y'all, Dale has, like, been a petrified statue in the middle of the lawn since Midsummer's Eve. He does
like
probably,
2 days or something.
2 days or something. And so suddenly he's revived to see him. He is surrounded by
giant fairies.
Angels. Like,
yeah.
Imagine what this must look like. Like, seriously, this guy is just like, I don't get paid enough for this. I'm actually curious to see how, what does he react?
He's just like, now I've seen everything.
Come on, it could be better. Like, they crouched over Dale, placed their hands on him, and helped him to his feet. He regarded Kendra with befuddled wonder, patting himself as a surprise he was intact. What's going on? He asked. Where's Stand? Yeah, that's it.
Okay, well, are you surprised? It's
Dale. I know, but
he's like the most low key character.
If he had said like, "Am I dreaming?" Like, that
I know,
yeah,
there was a good moment that like there's like a missed opportunity. Like he could have said something like, I don't know, be like, "Oh, this is the moment of my dreams." Or something.
You can cut this, but I imagine that's what Warren would say.
That's true. I am trying to like. That is what Warren would say. He'd be like, "Well, hello there, ladies."
Oh.
He'd be like, Is this a dream or am I awake in paradise?" Like,
did I die and go to heaven?
Did I go to heaven?
Because y'all some great looking angels.
That is true.
That would totally be Warren. Whereas
That's true. Dale's just like, where's Stan? Like,
a loyal friend to
what
the
work
end.
do I need to go perform? What task is there for me to do?
The sad thing is nothing.
It's true. He just kind of chills there. He doesn't even get to come to the battle. Like,
I love it. Like, Kendra, like, they ask for her will, and they're like, let's go. And she's like, okay. And the fairies are like, let's go.
It's also kind of funny, because, like, Dale literally just got changed back into a human, and then he's like, wait, what is going on? And then Kendra's like, bye, Dale. See you later.
Demon is
like,
also free, by the way.
Have fun storming the castle.
Think they can do it? You're not going to complete the quote.
I don't remember.
It would take a miracle.
It would take a
miracle.
Bye, boys.
I just love that they ditch him. It just makes me happy. Like, they just leave him
He's just like, what do I do now?
I can imagine he's like, I'm going to go put the house back together.
He's just like, I'm hungry. I'm going to go make myself a sandwich or something. I wonder what Dale does.
And like
This is my question in like every single book.
What does Dale do?
What does Dale do when everyone else is off saving the world?
Takes care of Fablehaven.
If they ever make...
He goes to the Eastern
If they ever make it like a TV show, there better be like a short series where it's like 10-minute episodes. And it's
Dale.
like the Daily Dale, the Daily Adventures of Dale. Like, what he did.
Like, yeah, he's
Dale
got to go
did.
to the Eastern hayfield and like gather up all this stuff and bring it back, but how many monsters has he had to fight on the way?
Yeah. Just, what is Dale doing? Maybe he went to go check on Warren.
Yeah.
Maybe is what he's doing.
They do mention Warren in this book.
Yeah, they do. Because Grandma's like, have you met Warren? And they're like,
albino? What? Who's that?
That's for the next book.
To be continued. I really like you really see a lot of seeding, right, as we lead up to this climax. He seeds a lot of, like, future. Like,
rereading
Preserves,
this first
Society of the Evening Star, Warren,
Patton Burgess.
There's
There's so much here that I'm like, wait, this was in the first book?
Like,
That's
you
crazy.
think, oh yeah, it's very self-contained. You stay on Fablehaven.
Yeah. No, you, like, are set up for the rest of the series.
Mm-hmm.
Which is crazy.
Well, continuing on. Kendra goes on a flight with all her mortal goddess fairies.
Yes.
And they land outside. And so Muriel, we find out, has recruited some more help. Like, I think a Minotaur, Goblin with a lot of knives.
There's a weird, like, sea bear, Octa-Bear?
Octa-Bear. Yeah,
Octa-Bear.
It was an Octa-Bear.
I had not noticed that until this rereading of it, and I was like, Octa-Bear? Since when is there a, like, what the heck is that? Do you imagine, okay, this is an important question. Is it like the top of a bear and like octopus tentacles? Or like
I think
an octopus with some tentacles and then feet of a bear? I think the first one makes more sense. I think bear on top.
Body,
yeah.
Like bear like head and like body, but like the arms and legs are tentacles.
Interesting. I was thinking like it has its front paws and then its like feet are like tentacles.
Does it describe it at all?
No, I don't think so. I think it just says Octa-Bear.
A rampaging atrocity that looked like a cross between a bear and an octopus battered fairies with its thrashing tentacles. I don't know, I think it has tentacle arms, but I could be wrong.
I don't know. I've never
Brandon,
what
were you imagining when you said Octa-Bear?
Can you like paint us a picture or something? I want to know. This is like an important question. Yeah, why wasn't that?
Where was the illustration?
I wonder if Brandon Dorman even realized there was an Octa-Bear in this. Like,
I feel like there's not like any like illustrations. Like I'm like flipping through like towards the end. Like ever since I Am Gma.
No,
they've got the illustration of the Forgotten Chapel.
You should do like a full like Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them book version of all of the things of Fablehaven.
Well, isn't that Caretaker's Guide to Fablehaven?
Yeah, but it doesn't have an Octa-Bear as far as I know.
Fair enough. So continuing on, so Octa-Bear is fighting back along with the rampaging dwarf. A lot of things, and also the creepy spectral lady.
The lady with the
one that kind of like
the dark
entranced Kendra for
that she saw through the window on Midsummer Night.
Yeah,
she's there
that
too.
Thing's there, just like hanging out with Muriel and Bahamut.
Yeah.
So like after the fairies manages to take down all of the creatures, and also what I like the most is that they get to transform the imps back.
Yeah, that is a really cool thing because before this, imps were never ever changed back into fairies.
Like it was
a permanent fall. Yeah.
The imps were irredeemable. Like they had fallen.
Yeah.
They could not be helped, and that's why they were like shunned. Because like they were just permanently ugly, hideous.
And they were just wallowing in their own self-pity and hatred.
They knew it was permanent. They knew that they were forever cursed, and like because they're immortal as well.
And their vanity as well.
Yeah, they're immortally like this. But now, like because of this like special like power up that the gives.
Yeah.
Which makes me wonder.
When you say power up, I think like Super Mario like 64 or something. You like get like the exactly. You get the superpower that no one else has.
The bullet. The bullet box.
Oh gosh.
No, but yeah, so they get to transform the imps back, which I mean kind of makes me think, why can't the queen do that all the time? Just wondering. But I mean, and also like, could you have done that like for a long enough time so that they could have gone to every preserve and saved every imp? But I guess not.
That makes me wonder how many imps in the world there are.
So yeah, they get to transfer, and so we've like doubled our ranks at this point.
Yeah.
And eliminated all enemies. Like all of the creatures are gone. And now we just have this huge thing of fairies, but that's when Bahamut emerges, who is described as...
You have to read that, because whenever I think of Bahamut, I never actually know what he's supposed to look like, unless I read it.
Well, first they do free the rest of the family.
Yeah.
So, Grandpa got changed to an orangutan. Mm-hmm. Seth got... fittingly, put into a large jar and transformed into an old, ugly man.
Old guy.
Lena was turned into a fish, again, appropriately.
He's now her older brother. Thanks for the pity laugh, yeah. That wasn't even a laugh. It was like a breath out, like, why do you do this?
And then Grandma, because I think Muriel was very bitter, turned Grandma into a slug. And side note, really nice moment for Seth here. The fairy that he hurt unintentionally.
Mm-hmm. That he caused to turn into an imp.
Is there.
Yes.
Gets turned back into a fairy and is there. And, like, Seth gets to apologize.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, the fairy is the one who does heal him. Like, the one he hurt was the one who helped him.
Changes him back.
Really like.
That's a good moment, yeah. He gets to see... his mistakes be fixed.
The interesting thing is, like, that imp had attacked Kendra, but then one of the fairies had caught her, kissed. Okay, so they healed
oh my gosh! Yes, they heal him with a kiss on the lips. It doesn't.
They're ladies.
Cooties, whatever.
Cooties. And so so that healed the fairy, the imp, and Seth gets freed by that same, and like, she actually gives him a kiss on the forehead to heal him.
Oh my gosh.
Seth gotta be like, ooh. No, I'm kidding.
No, this is Seth's dream.
Okay, so yeah, Seth gets healed. Grandma and Grandpa get, but then Bahamut comes out. And so, here we go. Quote, an ear-splitting roar shook the room. A creature who could only have been Bahamut emerged from the alcove. And this is the basement, by the way. The loathsome demon stood 3 times as tall as a man. High ceilings.
That's true, actually. That's a big basement.
Had the head of a dragon crowned by 3 horns. The demon walked upright, possessing 3 arms, 3 legs, and 3 tails. Oily black scales, bristling with barbed spikes, covered its grotesque body. Malevolent eyes gleamed with wicked intelligence. To one side of Bahamut floated the spectral woman Kendra had seen outside her window on Midsummer Eve. Her ebony wrappings flowed unnaturally, as if she were underwater. The unearthly apparition made Kendra think of a negative photograph.
She's a Dementor. When you said that, I was like, I picture a Dementor, but like an actual person. Okay, like the robes.
I think
the floating robes. It was a joke.
Galadriel, when she's doing like her, all shall bow before the queen.
Fair.
Like with like the hair floating, the robes flowing.
Yes.
And then at the other side of Bahamut stood Muriel, now clad in a gown as black as midnight and looking beautiful. It doesn't say that, but she's like young and pretty now.
Yeah.
She leered
She's
at the
also
fairies. She leered at the fairies and glanced confidently at the towering demon. No imps remained in the room. A crowd of shining fairies faced these final opponents. Way to set the stage, Brandon Mole. That was a good stage.
Yeah. I would like to see it on the screen now.
Yeah. Please and thank you. And so, yeah. So Bahamut tries to like engulf this entire place in blackness.
Yeah.
But the fairies, I love the fairy response to this. So it's dark, but they don't even choose to use their own light. What they do is they just literally rip the chapel off the basement, and it's like, let the light in. Like
Nothing
why?
Like natural light.
Yeah, like why use their own light that will spend energy, or like when you have the literal sunlight. He can't darken the entire world. He's not that powerful.
Yeah,
and they know
he's
that.
just one demon.
Like, and so I like that kind of thing. Like, in that moment, everything seemed so dark and like so hopeless, black as night.
Mm-hmm.
But all it really got to do is step outside, and you realize like that darkness is so localized. It's only powerful if you
remain in it.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
If you remain in it. Yeah, I like that. Like darkness thrives in corners, in little tiny areas where the light doesn't reach.
Darkness feeds off itself,
Mm-hmm.
and so you have to fight back.
But at the same time, a single candle can hold off the dark.
There's a Dumbledore quote in here.
Happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one only remembers
to turn on the light.
We gotta get the full thing in there. I had that in my phone case for actually it was my freshman year before it went flying off the roller coaster. It was
cut
that phone
out
case.
if you want.
No, you can keep it.
Okay. There's a story, and maybe if you ask, she will tell that story.
Maybe. Maybe there's something to be learned there. Don't keep your phone in your pocket on roller coasters.
On your back pocket, yes.
All right. So yeah. So they literally just cast the top of the chapel off, and boom, daylight. You don't got no power here, and so they just start attacking Bahamut. And of course, all the humans are like, we're gonna let the fairies take care of this. Like,
you got this.
Like Kendra's like, I did my part. Y'all got this now.
That's true.
And so the fairies do it because Muriel does some stuff. Bad lady with Dementor powers does some stuff.
Yes.
Bahamut is starting to kill a bunch of them. But I really like that they end up. So they start losing. The bad guys start losing, as they always do. And yeah, so they managed just to get Muriel and Bahamut, and I'm thinking if it took Muriel like 24 hours just to loose all of those knots that had initially trapped Bahamut.
Mm-hmm.
How many do you think they wrapped him in this time? Because like they wrapped them up like
I don't know.
like they had like each fairy I think had a rope with knots in it. Starts circling, ties them up together, throws them back into the alcove, and starts crisscrossing and like spiderwebbing across the alcove.
Yeah.
And I imagine like for like super deep as well. Like I mean I like that they explain like I think later on in Fablehaven like yes they could have imprisoned them forever and like thrown away like. But, like, the problem is you can't just make the lock and throw away the key. The key has to exist in order for the lock to maintain its power. So there has to be that loophole.
Ah-ha-ha.
Because it's nuts. Aha. You're the one giving me the pity laugh. And so, but yeah, so they have to give some way for them to get free eventually, but they can make it very, 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 very difficult to do so. So they managed to get Bahamut, Muriel, they're trapped, and then they bury the entire hillside. So if you gotta get to them, you gotta dig. You gotta dig a little deeper to get to Bahamut.
Don't dig deeper.
Yeah, you do not want to dig deeper. And I'm like, imagine being Muriel though. Like
she's like, I'm stuck here in the dark with a demon. She's like, well, this did not go according to plan.
Like she gets turned back into a shrivelly old witch self.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, and so then they fly them all back. But
there's one person they don't take back to the house,
which is sad. So it makes sense. So what they've been doing is they've been returning all these fallen fairies, imps, to their former states.
Yes.
And there's one more fallen
magical creature, and that is Lena. Kendra sees the fairies taking Lena against her will, basically.
Like she's like
back to the pond.
Don't do
yeah,
this.
She's like screaming and like trying to like get out of their grip, but they restore her to the pond as a naiad, which is actually like crazy. This
is like
it's not supposed to like imps not being able to turn back into fairies. Once she left the pond, she wasn't ever supposed to be able to become a naiad again. So that's actually kind of bonkers that, like, the fairy queen has that power.
And I also really like that, like, the fairies think they are doing her a favor.
Yeah.
They think she has, like, it's like a parent, like, taking away the kid's phone or, like, forbidding them from going to a party, even though they know that, like, even though the kid really wants to go and they think it'd be the best thing for them.
Yeah.
They're like, no, you are mortal. You fell. You don't know what's best for you. It's like, because like the imps, once they fell, like they kind of became evil. Like they were attacking Kendra and all of that jazz.
Yeah.
But like, and so like they're like, no, we know you're not thinking clearly, so we're going to help you.
We're going to do what's best for you.
What they felt
what
was
they
best
think
for
is
her.
best for her.
And they take her back to the pond.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting to see, because Kendra later on, she's returning the bowl that she took from the Fairy Queen's shrine, and she's like, I want to talk to Lena. And Lena is not the same.
It's not Lena anymore.
It's not
Not really.
anymore, which I think is so interesting.
Yeah.
Like she crossed back through that that veil. She said like the only thing that drew her from the pond was Patton. Mm-hmm. That's what brought her out of it, because she loved him. That's what pierced that like veil of I like killing
of
humans.
Reality, basically.
Yeah, that's what made her like start to tell time.
Yeah.
Like before, it was just like this immortal, like playful state in this pond where that was her entire world. Patton is what made her start to reckon time, realize, oh, I'm waiting for him. This much time has passed since his visits, and I want him to come back. Now she's just back in that, and she's back to square one.
So it's like she crossed the boundaries from immortality to mortality because of love. Mm-hmm. Is what you're saying.
Yeah. That's what managed to pierce that apathy.
Yeah.
I think is a good word for it. Apathy.
Indifference.
That timelessness. Because she began to have something that she wanted to keep track of.
But timelessness, but also changelessness, like unchanging, but not always in the best way.
Yeah, Patton is what changed her. And without Patton, like, yeah, she loved Kendra and, like, the rest of the Sorensen family.
Yeah. It's not the same, though.
But it wasn't the same, especially
it's not as deep.
Yeah. Like, she has gone through this huge change. Like, it is just
Yeah.
disorienting. Like, she does not recognize Kendra. She does not interact with her, except to try to kill her again because Kendra got too close, but Grandpa saved her.
Because it's what's in her nature again.
And she has gone back to square one.
Yeah, she's reverted back to her nature.
And it's honestly, like, it breaks Kendra's heart. Like, she's like, I didn't want this. Kendra knew that, like, yeah, Lena was sad about certain things, about mortality.
Yeah.
But she had accepted it as her choice. And she said, she's like, it was worth it to have those years with Patton.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, she's like, and like, so it's like almost like having this living reminder constantly of having her friends' wishes violated. Like, it's really like a violation for Lena.
Yeah.
Like, her body, her mind was changed against her will.
Yeah, but the fairies don't see it that way.
Yes,
they see it as Patton convinced her to leave, and that was... They probably think that was against her will. That she was, like, tricked into leaving. And that they were restoring her to her nature as a naiad. That's what they see it, because they are still magical creatures, and they don't have...
Especially because Lena doesn't leave. When she gets back, she's happy.
Yeah, they don't have that mortal viewpoint, and so...
And it's, like...
It's interesting.
It's so sad. Like, it
is sad.
Yeah. But, yeah. So, I think that's a good, like, little finish to our, like... Because I feel like we've talked a lot about it, like, the past few episodes about Lena and her mortality and how she felt about mortality.
Yeah, mortality versus immortality, and, like, her choice to leave immortality for mortality, and with that choice came the consequences of it.
That she had accepted.
She had
not loved. Like, she didn't like the fact that she was growing old. Like, she resented it a little bit. But that didn't come close to what, like, how much she loved the experiences that she had had.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, it's just, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I liked what you were talking about earlier, going back to, like, the light versus darkness. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's a big theme throughout all of the books. And I'm excited to explore that more. But I like how it's, like, the fairies using not their own light, because they themselves don't really have light per se, because their nature is very vain and very conceited, but, like, they use the light around them to, like, fight against the darkness. I think that's interesting.
Yeah. And I feel also, like, during this time that they were big, they had a different mindset.
Yes.
They were not just the vain, like, they were, like, okay, another, so, Tinkerbell in the movie Hook, she is, like, she admits she's had feelings for Peter for, like, almost the entire time. And she says, like, towards the end, she, like, transforms herself into, like, a human-sized Tinkerbell. And she says, this is the biggest feeling I've ever had, and this is the first time I've ever been big enough to feel it. Which I really like. Like, before this, she just has not been capable of, like, really understanding and feeling that love. But, like, now she's, like, she feels it, and she's like, oh my gosh, and which makes it even worse when Peter rejects her because he already has a wife in this story. Like, he fell in love with Moira, Wendy's granddaughter.
I've never seen
It's
Hook.
a good movie. But I really like that. Like, I'm now big enough to feel this, and I feel like that's the kind of same thing with the fairies. Like, they had that empathy. Like, that fairy that had been transformed into an imp had the empathy and understanding to forgive Seth and heal him. Like, at some point, it was also, like, the orders of the Fairy Queen, but I feel like their change made them capable of feeling in ways they hadn't before.
I agree that, yeah, now that they're bigger, I feel like they're more capable of...
They're more human.
Doing things bigger than themselves. Mm-hmm. It wasn't meant to be a joke!
It was good.
Okay. What I was saying is that, yeah, they're following the orders of the Fairy Queen, but they did that. They were going to do that as, like, little fairies, too. Mm-hmm. But it's more like like you said, they're more capable of doing something. And so, I don't know. I just think it's interesting that as they got bigger, it changed not necessarily their nature, but, like, their ability to do something. Which is interesting.
Yeah. I feel like, especially, like, and maybe it was still part of their vanity, like even as they were tall and, like, strong, they were beautiful.
Yeah.
And, like, they saw this as an opportunity to maybe even, like, prove it, like, to remove this threat to themselves.
Yeah.
So maybe not, like, they are the good guys, but at the same time, I feel like it's interesting exploring why did they do it. Did they do it to save Fablehaven? Did they do it because their queen commanded it? Did they do it because Kendra asked? And Kendra brought them this gift of being able to... Did they do it to heal their sisters of the imps?
I think they did it because their queen asked them to, and because they know that when they take this form, that they're going to battle, basically. Mm-hmm. Like, this is their, they're fighting form, basically. Mm-hmm. And so, I don't know. That's kind of what I think, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, so I just really like that, that imagery of them, going as, the avenging,
I think...
angels.
I think since they're bigger and, they are more capable of, thinking for themselves, but I still feel like because they don't stay big, they go back to, their small selves, that they're still not, capable of thinking in the same way that mortals are, or someone
because they still
other characters are. Yeah,
they still have
they're
that
still
immortal,
more taking orders, but they're more capable.
They still have that immortal mindset, but I feel like this does bring them a little bit closer to humanity. For with them healing their sisters and doing as much as they can to keep Bahamut imprisoned. I feel like the regular little baby fairies wouldn't do that as much, but
no,
it's interesting.
It is interesting. Anyway,
yeah. I hadn't thought about that before. What was what mentality did the fairies have when they went to war?
I think it's different than when they were small, but they're still magical creatures that are
magical, immortal, vain creatures.
Yeah, they don't think the same as mortals. So,
well, fascinating conversation there.
So anyway,
all right. So Lena's back in the pond. The fairies turn back into little fairies by giving Kendra a kiss on her faces, and Kendra eventually passes out for I think 3 days.
Oh, but it is cute that Grandpa is Grandma's back. She's like, I hear you were eating my eggs, and he's like,
I think there's still more in the
fridge. You were a chicken, and he has to try and weave his way out of this awkward situation.
There's still more in the fridge.
Yeah. He has to try and weave his way out of this awkward situation.
I really like them though. They're a cute couple.
Yeah, it is cute.
And so so they end up Seth and Kendra's parents come back to pick them up. And it's just
they're have any fun?
No.
It was a normal trip,
boring.
Mom and Dad.
Just boring.
We just spent our time swimming in the pool, looking at the flowers.
Imagine having
saving
to go home
everybody's
after
lives.
That. Just having to go home after that and just being
I can't even imagine what I would feel like after their experience in Fablehaven, that normal life would feel not like reality. Mm-hmm. Because they've seen something that is a lot more real, a lot more dangerous, and a lot more intense. That normal life at school and home and whatever would not feel real.
Yeah. I just found the last 2 lines of the book, or I guess the last a few paragraphs. Seth and Kendra hugged their grandparents goodbye and then climbed into the SUV. Grandpa winked at Kendra. Dad started the engine. You kids have a good time? Yeah, Seth said. Amazing, Kendra added. Remember how worried you were, but when we dropped you off, Mom said as she buckled in her seatbelt. I bet it wasn't half as scary as you imagined. And then, best part, Kendra and Seth shared a very special look. And I can just imagine it
they're just I think it's more they're kind of laughing because...
Just laughing, but also
you have no idea kind of thing.
Oh, that's interesting. I interpret it as more of a negative look, where you interpret it as more of a positive look.
Yeah, I think of it more of a kind of when something happens to you, but afterwards you could just kind of laugh about it.
I don't think you could laugh about that.
Well, I don't mean laugh, but it's kind of a coping mechanism. It's a coping mechanism, Jessica. It's
Seth has had a ton of guilt trips. Kendra lost one of her best friends.
It's kind of fun, the fact that he says, it wasn't half as scary as you thought it would be, and there's yeah, nope.
I think it's more of a are you sure about that? I just think of it more
I don't know. I just kind of think of them kind of looking at each other and just kind of, they know how ridiculous that sentence is that they just kind of laugh.
I never realized that some people could interpret that so differently. I like that it's left open, a very special look.
And I never really... Because, yeah, they almost died, and everyone almost died, but it was also, like, an adventure, so...
To them, Lena did die. Seth almost died.
I just said, yes, they almost died, but they lived and survived, and Seth is an adventurer, and he thrives off of this kind of stuff.
I don't think... I think maybe Seth might have been smiling a little bit, whereas Kendra, I think,
I don't know.
I think it might be more of a grimace.
It's also might just be, like, a sibling thing, where, like, you go through something with your siblings that your parents don't know about, but you, like, did it together, and then you just kind of, like, have this knowing look of, like, we did something that you guys don't know about. And you just kind of smile.
Like,
know what I mean, right?
We broke your favorite vase, but we managed to glue it back together and hide it before you got home.
Exactly, something like that. Or, like, you went and did this thing that your parents don't know about. I'm not saying, Mom and Dad, that I did anything, but...
Cover our bases. We have no experience whatsoever.
I am thinking of what... Anyway. I'm not lying here. There's nothing that I'm hiding. Don't give me that look. What are you hiding?
Nothing immediately comes to mind, to be honest. I don't know.
People that know us know that we are very not risk takers, so... Anyway... I don't know. I just feel like it'd be kind of something that they just kind of look at each other and be like, you have no idea.
Okay, interesting.
Like, why would you want to end it on a sad note? Like,
because Lena died.
She's not actually dead, though.
To Kendra, she is.
Okay, but she doesn't actually say that.
Well,
you're putting your thing on the character.
In this last chapter. Like, Kendra is, like she's hesitating.
I know she's, sad, but,
She hesitated to bring this painting of the pond. The image stirs painful memories.
Okay, but I don't
Many of her experiences here had been dreadful. She and her family had nearly been killed, and she had lost a new friend when Lena was returned to the pond. This is directly from that last chapter.
Okay. I hear you, and I hear that. But listen, this is why I think it could be, it's almost like a release of, this stress that they've been feeling. But also, Kendra as a character, I don't see her as being a person who has a negative outlook on life and doesn't only focus on the bad things. Even though she goes through a ton of crap. And maybe later in her character arc, she gets a little more, depressed and stuff. But I would say in the beginning, in these first few books, she tries to look at the positive and tries to focus, on, better things, maybe. And so, even though she has to deal with all of that bad stuff that happened, I still feel like she would try and be, happy that they're not dead. They survived. And now they're, going back home to normal. I don't know. That's how I see it.
Okay. I see where you come from.
Okay.
I'm going to agree 100%.
Okay.
I think both of our points have merit, and I think it really just depends on how we interpret these characters and their mindsets at this point.
That's fair. I just don't think it would end on a sad note.
Fair enough. Interesting. Okay.
Okay.
It's
okay.
Interesting.
Okay.
I did not expect to get into such a deep topic about that. I thought we were just going to... I thought that was just an interesting thing to share, just those last few
I would have never thought of it as negative. I have never thought of it like that.
Interesting. All right.
It is interesting.
All right, so during our last...
Also, I know we were just yelling, but we're not mad at each
other.
No, we're
not. No, this is just
our banter.
Debates.
Yeah,
our debates
this is fun. We're actually having a lot of fun right now.
Yeah,
so.
We are so much right now. I did not expect that to be so entertaining. We've had that was not a part of our last conversation. No. You guys just got that. I'm so glad. That was divine intervention. That's why we got to re-record this.
You're glad that we lost that recording.
I'm glad that we got to re-record and get that last conversation in.
Fair enough.
We are combining one of the questions from the reading guide with one of our questions from our listeners. Thank you so much for those of you who sent emails to us. And we actually got a question from them. So at the back of almost every single Brandon Mull book has a reading guide with some questions that are kind of usually geared towards a younger audience, let's be honest.
Yeah, well, these books are technically middle grade, but
there are a few that I think are applicable.
I feel like this is something to a kid would read with their mom and dad, or a teacher.
Yeah,
read,
this is
their
what
students.
the teacher would pull to have discussion questions.
Talk about this in a group of 2 or 3.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Exactly. But one or two of the three of the questions are really good. And so we're going to use one of them right now and combine it with one of our questions from our listeners.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is number 8. Several of the creatures of Fablehaven personified specific attributes. What did the fairies seem to personify? The satyrs, the cliff troll. What are the strengths and weaknesses of those characteristics? So we saw these questions and we decided to take a step further. Also, we're going to name our favorite creatures thanks to our questions from one of our listeners. From this first book. I think at the end of the
From the first
series,
book only?
Yeah, just the first book only. All right, so we're going to start with the ones in here. So I'm going to say it. So I'm going to start. I'm going to say a creature. You respond with a one-word
descriptive answer
of their personality just like who they are.
Okay.
So satyrs.
Frivolous.
Frivolity.
Frivolity.
Like yes. Okay, you hit me.
Fairies.
Vanity.
We've
Easy.
said that a lot.
Cliff troll.
Greed.
Okay, brownies.
Oh, yeah, I forgot the brownies were in the book. I was like, wait, that's book 2. But no.
Brownies.
Creativity.
I would say more, just... Oh, there's a word. It just means, like, busy.
Like, industrious?
Ooh, that's kind of what I was going for.
Naiads.
Naive. And innocent.
I wouldn't call them innocent.
They're innocent and naive in the way a child with a magnifying glass burns ants.
I suppose, but...
That's like what I get.
I wouldn't call them innocent.
Like, they don't understand.
I would say...
They don't relate to the loss of life.
I would say ignorant.
Okay.
Are there any more?
What else do you mean?
Creatures?
Hugo.
Book 1? Hugo.
Slave.
Obedient? Oh, gosh.
Basically what he is at this point.
Okay, well... That was dark.
That's what he is right now. Like, or robot. Robot,
yes, that is
okay,
a much better word.
Robot. Okay,
I said obedient. Are we doing characters now?
Mm-hmm.
Grandpa.
Stressed.
Yeah. At wit's end.
At wit's end. With Seth. Dale.
I don't mean this in a mean way. Don't take this the wrong way. Slightly useless.
I knew it! I knew you were going to say it.
Maybe more than slightly. Sorry. I'm sorry, Dale. If there's anybody out there whose favorite character is Dale, I apologize. But you have to admit...
I was going to say loyal.
That's a better word. You're nicer than me.
Oh, I was thinking useless, 100%.
Useless.
I was thinking useless.
Sorry. I mean, that man can carve pumpkins, though.
That can carve pumpkins to save a life.
That's something he can do.
All right, hit me with another one.
Seth.
Naive again.
Naive. Reckless.
Reckless and naive, yep.
Reckless.
Right. Kendra.
Careful.
Okay.
But she changes. I don't know.
I would say smart.
Smart.
She's very smart.
Maybe observant, actually.
Ooh, okay, I like that.
Maybe I'll change her to observant. Grandma.
Unflappable.
Unflappable.
That one is not phased by anything.
Unfazable. Unflappable.
Mm-hmm.
Unconquerable.
Not undefeated, sadly.
Yeah.
Lena. I have one for this one. Why don't you give yours?
There's you ever have the time where, you're thinking of, a meaning of a word, but you can't quite say it? You can't quite remember the word?
What are you thinking?
Experienced.
That's very close. I was going to say wise.
Wise, yeah.
She has been through so much.
I was also going to say timeless.
Ooh, I like that.
Those are the 2 words that came to my mind.
Yeah, mine was wise. She is wisdom. She is grace.
She's Miss United States.
No,
Muriel.
I would say greed again.
Greed.
The entire reason she ended up in that shack, the entire reason she goes out to Bamish, because she's greedy for power.
Power hungry.
Mm-hmm. Power hungry.
Are there any more characters?
Bahamut? Evil?
Demon?
Newell and Doran. I guess we already did satyrs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so frivolous.
They want batteries.
They want batteries!
A different kind of power hungry.
It's got batteries.
A different kind of power hungry. They're hungry and they want power to.
They are consumers. They are
consumers. They are definitely consumers.
They are
loyal customers.
They are what's it? They are gamer boys. Who never they will do whatever they can to get the newest and brightest toys, but they will never work for them.
Man-child.
Man-child. Yes. Oh god.
Especially later in the series, they are definitely man-children.
And I always love how whenever it comes to
Frito-Lay.
Frito. No, but I like how during this book Grandpa, Lena, and Grandma are we gotta keep Seth away from the satyrs.
Yeah. He's this young little teenage boy cannot be impressioned by the satyrs. We have to do something for his parents.
Okay, I think that's pretty much everybody.
I don't think there's any more characters.
Oh, Kendra and Seth's mom and dad. Oblivious. Literally, they had to have gone to the their parents were deeply involved.
I just thought of a really mean word.
Do it.
Negligent. I don't know why I'm being mean today, but these side characters. I mean, but they're also the instigators too, because they kind of cause all of this.
Actually, it's more Grandma and Grandpa Sorens. What's the
well, I mean, the fact that they have to drop their children off in the first place.
Because their other grandparents died, and only the immediate children.
We don't know their other grandparents, though, so.
That's true, but the other grandparents were more the instigators because their deaths caused
That's
all
a really sad thing to say. They caused this because they died.
Okay, all right, we're gonna. I feel like I'm running I am so I need to fan myself.
This is really funny. This is very entertaining. We have to do this for every book. I mean,
I really hope you guys are getting
clueless, negligent, oblivious, useless. Take your pick.
Okay, I'm trying to think. Is there anybody else we're missing? Maddox. Eccentric.
Entrepreneur. No matter what you think you hear, just remember we are not having fun.
I really wonder if he meant that, or is it just because
he did not mean that. He was having a lot of time of his life.
Right. It's just whenever he says that, I'm like, that sounds dark. What are you doing down there?
It's a joke.
Okay.
They're getting drunk and playing, gambling, and who knows what else.
All right, we gotta put a wrap on this. Thank you guys so much for listening to this. I hope you guys get as much of a kick listening.
Yeah, I hope you guys have as much fun. This was a fun episode to record, so I hope we are not incoherent in our laughter and yelling.
All right, well then, once again, I'm Jessica.
I'm Megan.
And please feel free to contact us through our email, knightsofthedawnpodcast@gmail.com. As well as commenting, liking, subscribing if you're listening to this on YouTube. Mm-hmm. If you are here on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, we just thank you. I don't really use those platforms, so I don't know how you can support us. But
yeah, you can find us basically anywhere podcasts are.
Yeah. So just keep supporting us, keep listening. We really, really appreciate it.
Share this podcast with a friend.
Mm-hmm, always. We actually got to share it with Brandon Mole. I think about a month and a half ago.
On his book tour for the new Candy Shop War book.
Yeah, that was really cool.
That was cool. Mm-hmm. He was like, whoa, that's cool. So, Brandon, if you're listening, hi. I don't know if you remember us, but hi.
We appreciate you and your work.
Yeah.
We're really big fans, in case you couldn't tell.
No, you couldn't tell at all.
No, but yeah, right. So we hope you all have a great rest of your day. Please feel free to send your comments and suggestions. We are completely open, and we'd love to... Oh, we didn't say our favorite characters. I say favorite animals.
Okay, favorite magical creature. Go!
Satyrs.
Satyrs?
In this book, satyrs.
Oh, in this book or in
book,
general?
In this book.
Oh, in this book. Okay, fine.
If we could, you know...
Brownies.
Oh, brownies.
I don't know. Brownies or satyrs?
We were eating brownies right before this. Yeah, the little tiny
Not those kind of
pictures.
brownies.
Thank you guys so much again for listening, and we hope you have a great rest of your day. Subscribe, follow us, and we'll see you next time. And this time it will not be over a month and a half.
Yes, we promise. All right.
Okay. All right.
See ya.